You know what's wild? Most people spend their entire lives working with money, but they never actually understand how it works. Not the textbook definition, not what schools teach. I'm talking about the real system. The invisible architecture that decides whether you'll struggle your whole life or sleep peacefully at night. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Nobody explains this system properly, and that's not an accident. The people who benefit the most from you not understanding money are the same people who design the rules. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how you've been playing a game without ever being taught the actual rules. Let me ask you something. What is money? Most people will say it's a medium of exchange, a store of value. And technically, that's true, but it's incomplete. Because in reality, money is trust. It's a collective agreement that a piece of paper or a number on a screen has value. Fiat currencies like the dollar have no intrinsic worth. They're not backed by gold. They're not backed by anything physical. They're backed by belief. The moment people stop believing in that promise, it disappears. When you receive a paycheck, you're not receiving wealth. You're receiving a claim on wealth, a promise that someone else will accept it later. If tomorrow everyone woke up and decided that promise wasn't real anymore, there's nothing the government could do to force belief. The entire system only works because we all agree that it works. Centuries ago, a small group of people understood something critical. If you control trust, you control money. And if you control money, you control behavior. So they built institutions that made money feel complex, technical, and intimidating. Something only experts could understand. Most people never question it. They just use it. And when they don't have enough, they blame themselves. They think they're bad with money. But that belief is exactly what keeps the system running.
Now let's talk about the part of the system almost nobody understands. Banks don't store money the way most people think they do. When you deposit money into a bank, the bank does not put it in a vault and wait for you to come back. They lend it out. This system is called fractional reserve banking. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Banks are only required to keep a small fraction of deposits in reserve. The rest gets loaned out. But it goes even deeper than that. When a bank issues a loan, it doesn't take existing money from somewhere else. It creates new money, digitally, out of nothing. Every loan creates money. Every repayment destroys it. That means most of the money in the system exists only because someone, somewhere, is in debt. Your paycheck, your savings account, the balance you see on your screen. Much of it only exists because someone else is paying interest on a loan. If large numbers of people stop borrowing, the money supply shrinks. If people default, money disappears. This is why the system doesn't just allow debt. It depends on it. And here's the part that almost no one talks about. Every loan includes interest. So if a bank creates $1 million in loans at 5% interest, it creates $1 million, but it demands $1,050,000 back. Where does the extra $50,000 come from? More loans, more debt. The system requires constant expansion just to stay stable. This isn't a flaw. It's the design. The people who built this system understood something simple. Most people would rather feel rich today using debt than feel uncomfortable being free tomorrow. So debt became normal, even encouraged. Mortgages, student loans, car loans, credit cards, entire lifestyles built on borrowed money. And once you're locked into debt, you lose flexibility. You can't take risks. You can't walk away from a job you hate. You can't slow down. You're not trapped by force. You're trapped by obligation. And that's exactly how the system keeps running.
Now here's where the system becomes psychological. Because the real trap isn't money itself. It's behavior. The system doesn't just want you working. It wants you consuming. Money stopped being just a tool for survival a long time ago. It became a signal that you're successful, that you belong, that you've made it. The house, the car, the phone that costs more than a month of rent. You weren't born wanting these things this badly. You were trained to want them. Through advertising, through social media, through watching other people spend money they don't have. And the most dangerous part? The system lets you have them before you can afford them. That's what debt really is. It's borrowing happiness from the future. You get the lifestyle today and pay for it for decades. But while you're paying, something important happens. You lose optionality. You can't quit the job you hate. You can't start the business you dream about. You can't take a financial risk. Not because you're lazy, not because you're irresponsible, but because your monthly obligations won't allow it. This is why debt is so powerful. People with debt are predictable. People with debt are compliant, and the system knows this, so it wraps debt in convenience, in rewards points, in minimum payments. Credit card statements are designed to keep you paying interest forever. Loan contracts are intentionally confusing. Fees hide in fine print. It's not complicated by accident. It's complicated on purpose. Because when you don't understand the system, you blame yourself. You think you're bad with money. And when you blame yourself, you never question the rules. That's how the cycle sustains itself.
Now let me show you the other side of the system. The people who actually understand how money works. They don't avoid debt. They use it differently. Here's the key distinction. When most people borrow money, they borrow to consume. They buy cars. They finance vacations. They upgrade lifestyles. Their debt goes up, but their assets don't. Nothing is producing income. But when wealthy individuals borrow money, they borrow to invest. They buy businesses. They acquire real estate. They purchase assets that generate cash flow. Their debt increases, but their assets increase faster. And here's the part almost no one talks about. The interest they pay is often tax deductible. So while you're paying interest with after-tax dollars, they're using pre-tax advantages to grow wealth. Same tool, completely different outcome. This is where compound interest becomes powerful, not on debt, on assets. If you invest $10,000 and earn an average return of 10% over 40 years, that single investment becomes over $450,000. But here's the catch. You need capital to invest. And the system ensures most people never build it. Debt payments consume the margin that could have gone into investments. Meanwhile, those who start with assets get compounding working early. By the time they're 30, their money is already working for them. By the time most people figure this out, they're in their 50s and racing against time. The system wasn't designed to make this fair. It was designed to reward those who understand it.
Here's the part that really matters. Understanding how the system works doesn't instantly free you from it, but it does something far more important. It removes the blame. Most people spend their lives believing they're bad with money, that they lack discipline, that they made the wrong choices. But once you understand the structure of the system, you realize something powerful. You weren't failing. You were playing a game designed to extract value from you. And that realization changes everything. Because when you stop blaming yourself, you stop reacting emotionally. You stop chasing status. You stop trying to prove success through consumption. You begin asking better questions. Do I actually need this? Or am I being trained to want it? Is this debt helping me build assets? Or is it locking me into obligations? You can't opt out of the financial system completely, but you can opt out of participating in it the way it expects you to. You can choose to live below your means. You can delay gratification. You can redirect cash flow toward assets instead of liabilities. These aren't dramatic moves. They're quiet decisions. But over time, they compound. And slowly, the system that once controlled you starts working for you instead. Here's the truth most people never hear. The goal isn't to escape the system. The goal is to understand it well enough that it stops controlling you. Money isn't evil. Debt isn't automatically bad. And wealth isn't about greed. It's about positioning. Once you understand how money is created, how debt expands, and how assets compound, you stop making decisions out of fear. You stop chasing appearances. You stop reacting to pressure. You stop measuring success by income alone. Instead, you start asking one simple question. Does this move give me more control or less? Every decision either increases your freedom or trades it away. And most people never realize they're making those trades every single day. Not because they're irresponsible, but because no one ever explained the rules. Now you know them. That doesn't mean the path is easy. It means it's clear. You don't need to become a billionaire. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need insider access. You just need awareness, patience, and consistency. Because when money starts serving you instead of the other way around, everything changes. If this helped you see the system differently, subscribe to the channel. We break down how money, markets, and power really work without jargon and without noise. The next video might not make you richer overnight, but it might stop you from staying stuck forever. And that's where real freedom begins. Here's the actually played.